Let's roll them. Welcome, welcome, welcome to class. What are we on the website? This is class 4.
The homework we did was for class 10.
Yeah, on the website, this is class 4 of Science of Mind 102. It is January 2019. Happy New Year, everybody. We always begin in treatment, so take a deep breath. Let it out. Let it go. And continue to breathe deeply and easily as we know that there is a presence and a power that is in and through and as all things. It permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. It is beyond the concept of universe and time and space. It is the oneness of all. It is spirit. It is the divine. It is God. It is the absolute self-existent cause of all. And whatever that oneness is, because it is one, we each are a part of that. We are an individualization of that oneness, a manifestation, a point of the life of the divine in and as us now. We are connected to all things. We are a part of all that is. And as we move into tonight's class, we know that the mind of God is our mind now. And so everything that we need to know, we know. We understand and get whatever it is we need to understand and get. And we easily incorporate these ideas into our lives and consciously create lives of health, happiness, wholeness, prosperity, and joy of all kinds. And with great gratitude and thanksgiving for the opportunity to learn how to manifest using this amazing teaching, we simply release this treatment into all that God is, knowing that God is all, as together we say, and so it is. Wonderful, wonderful. Come on in, Susan. Troy and Sarah, welcome. Have you been in class before? No. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You moved here from where?
Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Did you take classes in Las Cruces?
We took some,
Great, wonderful.
but don't hold us to it.
Do you have actual pieces of paper that you finished things?
Yeah, I got a suit.
No?
A few.
Okay, and just to go ahead and go on that track for a moment, Wednesday night in this very room, Laura Earp is offering a Thomas Troward Creative Process in the Individual class. And if you are looking at going into practitioner class and you have not had a Thomas Troward class, that will be a required class. So I know that some people are starting to gear up to go into practitioner class in the fall, and that's a good class for you to take. Also, the following week, Sally Robbins is starting a class on Tuesday nights called Foundations. That would also be a good class for you to take. We, up until now, have not followed the strict pathway to practitioner studies as laid out by Centers for Spiritual Living. We give ourselves a lot of leeway to mix and match and figure things out as people want to go into practitioner class and see what they've done and what that would equate to. But with Sally coming on board, we're going to have more standardized classes, and she wants to lay out a whole plan on a 2-year program that would assure people have what they need to get into practitioner class every 2 years. So she's looking out for you, and if you want to learn about Troward, he is just amazing. And that's Wednesday nights, and then the following week when Sally gets back into town, foundations start. And if you want to get to know her, taking classes from someone is a really good way to get to know someone and to see what their style is and see their take on things and how it sounds a little bit differently. So I would recommend that you check out both of those and see if any of them feel like that's where you want to go. Is there anyone planning on going into practitioner studies in September? Hella? Debbie? Anybody else? Steve? Sophia? Great. And I've got some other people that have already told me that they want to. So we'll make sure that you get the classes that you need, or we look at what you've taken and see what that will equal to, since I gave up teaching regular classes long ago. Just don't tell me what to say. So we've been gone a few weeks. We had the candle lighting 2 weeks ago, and then I was off at the beach. One thing that you might want to know is that the next trip that I take to the beach will not be dark. Sally's going to fill in for me, so you'll get a chance to experience her teaching then also. And that way we keep the continuity of classes going, whether Barbara is here or there. And that gives you as students, not only do you hear this teaching in many voices, which I think is really important. You had the benefit of both John and me. And if you were here when Christy was here, Christy and Sally lately, you get different voices. It's good for you to hear this from different points of view and languaged in different ways. So just so you know, that's going on. So we had the candle lighting 2 weeks ago. Last week I was in Florida. What are your demonstrations? Ophia.
I don't know if you'll have enough time for this, but
What?
I was joking. I don't know if you'll have enough time for all this.
Speak proud of what you've accomplished.
So last time we were here, I think we treated for the easy sale of my truck, which after that class I pulled up to the gas station by my house. The guy and his girlfriend were there, checked it out. They were awesome people, like working at a children's home, like in Black Mountains, you know, and had after, you know, a quick drive around or whatever, like, we love it, and me an envelope full of French vanilla smelling cash, which was very nice.
So you treated for the easy sale of your truck and it sold.
And it sold that night.
Yay! What else? Bring it on.
So then I was heading back to my parents' farm, the farm I grew up on, well, for most of it, and it's like an 8-hour drive, and after a couple days being there, like, or, you know, a day or so, I started to feel myself kind of falling into like the feeling I always had there, like the kind of like depressive, like old memories and stuff and everything coming up, like, but I decided I was like, I have 3 weeks off from class, like, and I have always, even though I got, you know, I have a bachelor's degree and everything, like, I have always had a problem with assigned reading, like doing it, like, actually it's hard for me to actually make myself do it, but I was treating for that, like, as I was thinking about it, like, no, like, I can do this, I can read, so, you know. Anyway, so I decided I was going to get caught up on my homework. I am nowhere near caught up on it, but I did go back and listen to all the classes and stuff too, and I did get a lot done of it. And
So what was your treatment?
So that it became a lot easier. And while I told myself that I didn't need to pause this, like, to be at home. I didn't need to pause the growth that I was getting. So then I decided I need to clean out the stuff that I've left here, like, that's just in the way of something that they all have their junk there too, but I can start. So I started cleaning out all the, like, textbooks and stuff from
So
my
what
old
was your
room.
treatment?
The treatment for that was cleaning out the old bedroom.
So you treated to clean out stuff.
And I did all that, and it changed the mood of the whole family. Like, it was just a really beautiful Christmas, and then and it was great. It was wonderful. I was excited to come back and see my recent romantic partner after Christmas, and we had delayed it, or said I was going to stay here one more day. It's been really great. I'm going to help my family for one more day. And he sounded really down, but so I safely but efficiently drove back here. And
What did you treat for?
so I was treating RJ for a romantic partner, or for a romantic, and I realized, and I was treating him for characteristics. I realized I got a little too careful. I learned my lesson on the specifying things. Like, I realized I was treating for characteristics of someone that I thought that the person I was with had, and turned out that they didn't. And so when I got back, they broke up with me.
So you treated RJ to have a romantic relationship with a person with certain
Who
qualities.
had honesty, communication.
Yeah, and when you came back, the relationship you were in stopped, because that's not in alignment with what you treated. Yay! Some bless us by coming and some by going.
And because of that, I was able to, when I saw him a couple days later to get my stuff back, you know, I was able to say that basically, like, took less than 5 minutes to just be like, thank you for not wasting any more of my time on your depression.
Yay! 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 Congratulations. Wonderful. Who else? Treatment demonstrations. Tiana and then Rick and then Helen.
So we've been treating that I just get money that comes to me in like, unexpected or comes from unexpected places. So this year I joined like a fantasy football league and no idea what I'm doing. And I won. So I won first place.
You traded for money to come from unexpected places. You joined fantasy football and you won.
Nobody expected it.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Good for you. Rick.
Yeah, I've been treating for a more loving attitude, and particularly with relationships. And it is just marvelous. I've had some breakthroughs. This just, I've seen trains of thought that I've had, and I've suddenly become aware. I said, oh shit.
That's
Oh
the
my-
holy shit.
Oh my God, I've been doing that, and it all started with that, I was thinking, this is a good time to go through complaints I might have about other people that I haven't really dealt with, and so I've been doing that, and so I turned the complaint, I asked myself the same question, how am I doing this?
Right.
And I was, but yeah, it's amazing.
So not only did you treat for more loving relationships, but you were willing to honestly look at yourself and see how you were contributing to the unlove in your life.
Yeah, yeah.
By trains of thought, belief systems, complaints. Good for you. Yay. Who else? Hella.
I got two, my partner fell, my dog tripped her and she sprained her ankle, a muscle in her back really bad and she could barely move and I treated her in 2 days, it was gone completely.
Yay.
The other one, which is really, really cool, we have 3 dogs and one of them had heartworm. We adopted him 4 years ago, and he had some heart problems then, they all disappeared, but in the move here, he got to have arrhythmia like first every day, then 2-3 times a day, and over Christmas we were up to like 6, 7, 8 times a day having these episodes, and we didn't know a vet here and we couldn't get an appointment until January 2nd, and I'm like, okay, I gotta really do this. And so I woke up early one morning and I treated for him. That day he had nothing at all. The next day he had a little bit, I treated him again, nothing at all. He had a little bit and then treated him one more time and we haven't seen it since.
Yay. So you treated your partner, the sprain went away. You treated the dog, the arrhythmia went away. Yes, this is what we do.
That's why I'm here.
This is what we do. I did a wonderful talk on that. Yeah, it's what we do.
I just saw that again. Yeah.
Anybody else? David Mark.
Yes, I requested treatment and had treatment over some, stumbling over some words that I was going to say, and it was effective. I didn't stumble too much.
Was that for the candle lighting?
Yes, it was.
You were wonderful. You were very eloquent. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, those of you who haven't shared, I want you to know, I know you had demonstrations. And again, I want you to acknowledge those. You don't have to share out loud, but tuck them away in your head. Start building up that reserve that said, this happened, I treated, and this happened. This happened, my partner treated, and this happened. This happened, somebody treated, and this happened. Susan.
You convinced me. My son was visiting here from Ithaca, and
and he was in a really bad accident, and he walked out of the car. Initially, my heart sank until I said, "Are you okay?" But I just knew that this was good. It was good, it was good, it was good. And he's fine, and everything just opened up. I happened to have an osteopath appointment. He happened to want to come with me. I asked if we can find an appointment. There just happened to be a cancellation right after me. His body was put back into alignment. But I just knew it was all good. And the work that he's doing to put everything in place, and all the people that are just coming to assist him and help him with a new car and a rental and insurance and this and that. Friends visiting family in Florida said, "Hey, we'll stop in Asheville and pick you up. Don't rent that car yet, just save the days of your rental." And they stopped in Asheville and squeezed all of his things into their car and took him back to Ithaca. But I just knew I was steady, and I was faithful, full of faith, knowing that this is all good. It's just
So many
really
people
good.
are reactive. They see their child in a totaled car and they freak out. And then you put the freak out into the experience, and what you get is the result of that. If you can stay calm and go, "This is good, this is good, this is good, only good can come from this," you're putting a blessing in there and you get the blessing out.
And I posted that evening, and I just said, "This is a very happy day.
Yay.
My son is okay. Everything else will just fall. Everything else is fixable."
Right.
And
Good
yeah,
for you.
I've been very calm and happy through it, because I'm watching it unfold and get better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you. Wonderful. Your reading for tonight was on causes and conditions. We talked about that at last class. Do you have any questions or comments on your reading? Breezy.
I do have one on question 5. It says, "What happens when we learn to see as God must with a perfect vision?" And in regards to the page number of the paragraph, I couldn't find it there, so I wasn't sure.
You weren't sure what?
And what specifically you were looking for, since I couldn't find it.
Is
in
that the
Word.
one we talked about last class where I had the page number wrong?
Oh, that I don't know.
Yeah, and somebody corrected it? Is that person in the room? I think one of them I had the page number wrong.
Oh, okay.
But what happens when we learn to see as God must with perfect vision? The answer was freedom. It was freedom. We have freedom. And just like Susan, we're not reactive. We're not tied to the outer condition. We can look through the circumstances and see clearly, see the presence of the divine, see the peace and the wholeness and the love and the prosperity and the joy, and then that's what we get back. We have freedom to create our experience, and we do that by looking at the world with what I call our God eyes. And we see the perfection in people, we see the perfection in circumstances, we see prosperity and joy and opportunity, and then we get those back. Any other questions or comments? Helen.
I have a comment, not specifically about this chapter, but I had a lot of time to read over the holidays, and I've been reading a lot of Emma Curtis Hopkins again. And one of the things I've noticed is how she really points out that whenever you have a demonstration, you gotta think about it, you gotta talk about it, you gotta write it down, and you gotta really narrow down the specific principle that you hit on, of what exactly was it that you did that caused that manifestation to happen.
We're working on that. I'm trying to get them just to notice.
Oh, okay.
Notice, then you write it down, then you focus on it, and then you look at what belief system you changed inside of yourself to have that demonstration, and then you've got some real growth. But the first step is noticing your demonstrations. Anybody else? Are you clear that you are cause to your life no matter what it looks like? That the only place to go is inside of yourself to change the circumstances in your life. That is the point of the whole chapter, that the conditions are effects. Effects always follow cause. You are cause. And whether or not you thought it consciously or you have a hidden belief about the way life is, it doesn't matter. You at some level impressed your thought on subjective mind, on spiritual law, and the manifestation was the condition in your life. It all comes from you. If you're not willing to accept that responsibility about your experiences, then you're not going to be able to change it. Because if you didn't cause it, you can't change it. If some God out in the clouds caused it, or if your ex-husband caused it, or your childhood caused it, or the government caused it, then you can't do anything about it. But if you did that, then you can begin to look inside of yourself and see, first of all, how you can change it, and then look and see what you can change inside of yourself. One of the things that Ernest says about the reading you're going to do this week on physical perfection is that no healing is lasting unless there's a change in consciousness. So let's change the condition. I'm all about that. Think a new thought, do an affirmation, do a couple of hundred treatments on it to create it anew, but then look inside of yourself like Rick did and said, boy, I'm a complainer. I'm complaining about everybody. What is it about me that complaint is registering? Because remember, if it's not in our consciousness, we won't see it. Somebody can be very annoying to one person and not annoying at all to someone else. The person that is getting annoyed has that in their consciousness. And so we look inside of ourselves and see, what is it that I'm laying on me? Remember, we did the condition and then the truth and what we would do a treatment or an affirmation for. So let's say that I'm criticizing somebody for, give me an example.
You do this too fast. You drive too fast.
You drive too fast. And so then I'm looking at myself going, what am I criticizing myself about driving too fast? Well, I give you a clue. It doesn't have anything to do with driving. What am I criticizing myself about? What else could it be?
Fear.
Fear of what?
Crashing.
Fear of crashing. What am I criticizing myself about? Not keeping myself safe. About not going out of my way to make sure that I'm taken care of. That I have brakes on my car or tires that aren't flat, or I have people around me that don't attack me, that I am not putting myself in danger. How am I doing that? And when you look at that, believe me, if you track it down, you'll have wide eyes and go, wow, I'm the one who's constantly putting myself in danger. I pick the wrong people, I get involved in the wrong businesses, however it may sound for me. All I'm doing is suppressing that, projecting it onto somebody who's driving a car and going, you drive that car too fast. But really what I'm saying is I'm not keeping myself safe and I'm not dealing with that. So then what would your treatment be for?
I am safe.
I am safe. I'm always safe. I go out of my way to make sure I'm safe. I take care of myself. I make sure that I have enough money. I make sure that I have enough food to eat. I make sure that I have what I need to do what I want to do, whatever that is. That I have the education or the opportunity or the supplies, whatever it may be. I take care of myself. I surround myself by people that I'm safe with. And if I'm not safe with them, I'm out of there. So when you look at yourself and start changing those beliefs, then you start having a shift in consciousness. But I don't want you to think that, oh, I have to wait till I'm all enlightened and holy before I can change the conditions of my life. I'm not baffled, I marvel at how people who are very screwed up can demonstrate with this teaching. The problem is that they demonstrate and then they create this problem again. Then they demonstrate, they create the problem again. They demonstrate, they create the problem again. At some point, if we want to have a lasting healing, we have to change the consciousness inside of ourselves. And that's the process of healing. Not just a quick fix or a putting out a fire. You know, you have to put out a lot of fires if you go around with a lighter and light them all. So there comes a point in time when you go, I'm surrounded by fire. Maybe it has something to do with me ignoring the fact that I'm carrying a burning flame through life. And then you can look at that and start to shift it. Anything else on the reading this week? Did you find it interesting? I love that chapter. I just love that. But I love all that stuff. I love John's talk. If you weren't here yesterday, I loved it. It's just pure science of mind. I said, boy, you have all the hardliners on the edge of your seat. You used all the right words and all the right sentences and all of that. It was great. Were you here, Sarah? Yeah, good. If you're watching online, that's John Waterhouse's talk on the first Sunday in 2019, Principles of Science of Mind. It was excellent. Excellent. So we're moving into a class on healing, on physical perfection. And the first idea that goes with that is that there is already a perfection within the body. That with this idea of oneness, everything is one, so everything is a point. It's not a piece of God, it's not a piece of spirit, it's a point of all that spirit is, which is perfect health and wholeness already. So you're not trying to fix a problem, you're not trying to cure a disease. What you're doing is revealing what is already there. Ernest has a very famous quote, there's nothing to heal, only truth to be revealed, and yet we use the word heal and healing all the time because we're kind of locked into this language thing. So there's already a health and a wholeness within us. One of the ideas is perfect God, perfect man, perfect being. So if everything is already perfect, then our physical body is perfect. It's already healthy, it's already whole. It doesn't matter what has happened to it, it doesn't matter what is showing up in the world of condition or effect. We have to go back to cause. And the cause of that perfect health is already there. We're just revealing it, we're just digging through all of the illusion, all of the minutia of the world of effects to get to the health and wholeness that is already there. Ernest says that there's as if, I don't want to go off camera, come here, Amanda. Stand here. Ernest says, if you were sitting in a chair, I would have just gone up to you, that there's the physical person, and then there's a spiritual person that is like this. And the spiritual perfection, okay, thank you. The physical, the spiritual perfection is already there. Inside of every organ is a healthy organ. It doesn't matter what it's doing. Inside of every bone, muscle, tissue, system is the health and wholeness of spirit as you. Doesn't matter whether you were born with a condition, whether you contracted a condition, whether you had something happen that you have a condition. Disease is neither person, place, nor thing. And I like this idea that I'm sending it back into the nothingness from whence it came. It doesn't have any substance to it. One of the things that Ernest says, maybe it's in the reading for next week, I don't know, or the week after that, is that if disease had power of itself, then people who were in the graveyard would all be passing diseases to each other. And how ridiculous is that? Disease has no power in and of itself. It has to have the power of the life in the physical body that gives life to the disease. It doesn't have any structure, any stability, any roots all by itself. It's just an experience. It is just a condition. And how has anybody in this room ever had a physical healing? Yeah. How did that work? How did that work? Has anybody ever been cut? Are you still bleeding? There is a natural flow to go back into the state of health and wholeness that is our natural state. And that is such a relief. You don't have to change it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to make it happen. All you have to do is uncover the idea of the health and wholeness that is already there. And then by its very nature, the same way that if you take a paper off of something that's hiding it, by its very nature, it reveals itself. And so people have instantaneous healings. They have process healings. I don't care how the healing occurs. You get better and better and better, or it happens just like that but the revealing of the health and wholeness is a natural occurring event. And for me, that is so important, because when I do a spiritual mind treatment for someone and someone calls me and say, you saved my life, they told me I was going to die and you did this treatment and now I'm not going to die anymore. Well, you never were gonna die, honey, but that's a whole other thing. Then my ego so much wants to go, I'm Barbara Waterhouse. I do spiritual mind treatment and the earth moves. Boy, don't question my power. It's not my power. It is tapping into the power of the presence of spirit. And if we get hooked up into, I can make this happen, then we're using this willpower to try to do it, and that is not the way to go about it. All we're doing is uncovering the perfect being that is in there. Now, maybe it's in there under a snotty nose, or maybe it's in there under a diagnosis, maybe it's in there under a pain, but it's in there, and it's our job to look clearly enough to be able to see through the illusion of the disease right into that perfect state of health and wholeness that has always been there and will always be there. You cannot stop people from being healthy and whole. Even if the body is laid down and people transition, they're still healthy and whole. And we have so many experiences where someone was diagnosed with something and then it changed. Diagnosed with something and then it changed. And we have that just over and over and over again, and it helps us to notice that and put it in our mental file that no matter what the label is that's on it, we can be so clear inside of ourselves in our awareness of truth that the outpicturing of that is a change in the physical body. And it can change just like that. It's just amazing to me how quickly we can do that. And so our job is to not get caught up in the illusion, to not get hooked into all of the things. Well, it's flu season, take Theraflu, go get your flu shots. Oh my gosh, somebody sneezed on me, it's just a matter of hours now. No. And that doesn't mean that I don't wash my hands when I leave the hospital, because I do, but that's just to reassure myself that I'm always safe, and I will do whatever I need to do to be safe. But I don't really need to do that. If I was clear enough, somebody could sneeze all over me and I'd still be fine. And people do sneeze all over me and I'm fine. So, no matter what the condition, it does not have any substance unto itself. It's fed by cause. But if you're a kid and you're born with a condition, a physical ailment, and everybody tells you that that's the way it is and that's what you have and you're going to have it forever, and you believe that, then the cause to that condition is your belief of that. And as you believe it, go, well, that's just what I have and it's never going to change and I'm going to be like that forever, then that is the cause of your experience, of your disease. And if you can change that cause, you can change the disease. Jen Oman should be in a wheelchair. She was almost in a wheelchair when she first got here. The doctors say it's ridiculous that she should be able to walk, much less climb stairs and ride a bike. That is medically impossible, that she is making medical history because she is very much working on her head, that there is a health and a wholeness within her body that cannot be labeled or diagnosed, it cannot be stopped, it cannot be held back. It is the presence of God itself, and that is who she is. And so it comes out. And we're all working on it at some level. I don't want you to think that you're not allowed to be sick here, because there are some Science of Mind centers that really stick their nose up at people who have physical problems. I remember someone came up to Ernest once. I remember a story, I wasn't there. Somebody came up to Ernest once and questioned his use of glasses. And he said, "Madam, I wear my limitations on my nose. Where do you wear yours?" Where do you wear yours?
That's great.
So we all have limitations. We have not ascended yet, but this is a place where we can look at the things that are limiting us and look at the way that we can turn them around and have something different. And the thing to do is to start noticing that we have these experiences, either personally or other people have them. And if somebody else had it, I can have it. For that matter, because of oneness, if somebody else had it, I already have it. I, as them, already have that. And if somebody hasn't had it yet, then it's mine to do. I'm at the top of the line to have that happen. And when you look at physical experiences, that they are simply a cloak, a bushel basket, so to speak, still close to Christmas, covering up your light of health and wholeness, and that all you have to do is remove that bushel basket and see yourself clearly, then the body changes. The body of your affairs changes. Your money changes. Your relationships change. Your business changes. Things just shift because you've gone back to looking at cause, dealing at the level of cause, and having an effect happen. Somebody was talking to me Sunday, talking about an issue at the center, things aren't going right, and we gotta work on this. I said, wait. Let's take it back to cause. Let's start treating this. And then whatever happens, then that will be the logical outpicturing of the manifestation of the health and wholeness of this event. And it took less than a day for things to come into alignment and shift. So when we look at cause, when we take responsibility that we are the ones creating our experience, then we can change it. Because if it's somebody else, if it's that dirty, rotten racket that I'm complaining about, we can never get a handle on the shift, because the shift is always from us. Are you guys cold? No, okay, just Susan's cold, okay. So, also, I know that I was boasting, something I do, about getting off of blood pressure medication, and that was because I did not like the way it made me feel, and it gave me this incessant cough. I must have coughed for 6 months. Remember when I was up here just coughing and coughing and coughing? So I didn't want it, but that doesn't mean that you don't get to take pills. And that doesn't mean that you don't get to go to doctors, whether they're allopathic or naturopathic or chiropractic or whatever they are, that if spirit is in everything, spirit is in everything. And sometimes it's appropriate to take the pill, sometimes it's appropriate to have the surgery, sometimes it's appropriate to do whatever it is you need to do to walk down your path of healing and wholeness. There isn't a right way and a wrong way. And I like to say that every so often, because we can kind of give off the idea that I don't want to go on this medical avenue, and I don't want to be dependent on medication, and I don't want to be labeled with this thing. But really, everybody's path is their own, and everybody finds their own way into their best life ever in their own way, and there's nothing right or wrong or good or bad. It's like when we have fads go through the center. We had the vegan fad a couple of years ago, and people were all, you shouldn't serve this meat, this animal meat to people. Sure I should, because if you notice, people like it, they eat it, makes them happy, and I think their happiness is more important than what they're putting in their mouth. What's coming out of their mouth is more important to me. Not to say I don't be mindful of what I put in my mouth, but if you're gonna eat McDonald's, please bless it. Don't make yourself wrong for eating McDonald's. God is in the McDonald's. And if you're pointing at other people, saying what they should or should not do, perhaps, as Rick pointed out, you should look at the person in the mirror and look at what you should or should not do for you to keep yourself safe, to keep yourself feeling good, to follow your own intuition and guidance. There's a story about a practitioner. I think John told this a few weeks ago in his talk, but there was a science mind practitioner, and somebody was complaining that they couldn't sleep, and the woman said, I have absolutely no trouble sleeping. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I get up and make myself a cup of warm milk, and then I have a shot of brandy, and then I take a sleeping pill, and then I do a spiritual mind treatment, and I'm sound asleep. None of those things are wrong. Everybody is on their individual path, finding their way, and whatever you feel is right for you is what's right for you. And if you are sick, please come to the center. I'd rather you come in your pajamas and bathrobe with a box of tissues than stay away because you think that you are not appropriate or welcome here. Germs are a figment of our imagination. They're not really real. What's real is that our belief that germs are real. And that's evidenced by the number of people, usually stereotypical gender types, a woman, a mother of a family, as the family around her contracts the flu. And she takes care of them. She does not get the flu. Why doesn't she get the flu? Because she doesn't have time to get the flu. Everybody gets better and goes back to school and goes back to work, and then that woman gets the flu. Now the flu germs have long since been dead in the house. Flu germs don't live for a month or 2 weeks. They're dead, they're gone. The germs are out of the people before they get completely better. They're not on the countertops or the bathrooms or anything. There's not a germ in the house, but there's a memory of a germ. And so they'll contract the flu. And that happens thousands and thousands of times a winter because it's a timing issue, it's a mental issue. So if we don't have time to get the flu while everybody else is sick, let's not have time to get it after everybody else gets better because we're too busy having fun. Susan.
I remember during one of the talks before the fire walk, John told the story of people who walked on fire and everybody had blisters and one guy didn't. And then 2 weeks later, they were gathering, talking about their experience, and maybe he didn't know he wasn't supposed to have blisters, but when everybody was talking about what they had, he got blisters, and it was
Right.
like 2 weeks later.
Right.
And I'm paraphrasing John's story, that's how I remember it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Where did that heat come from 2 weeks later? There was no heat, there was no 1400 degrees on the skin. It wasn't there, but there was a memory of it. There was a thought. Cause, effect. Cause, effect. So if you've had a cause and an effect and you don't like the effect, have a different cause. Have a different, have a different
Memory.
I just want you to say it louder with some enthusiasm. If you want a different effect, have a different cause. There you go. So this idea that it's not on our shoulders, that you're not using willpower, that you are simply uncovering a truth that is already there, and if you can't see it yet, you need to keep digging and keep looking for it and keep finding it. I like the little analogy that I'm putting on my God eyes. And then I see everything as God sees. So how does God see?
Very well.
Very well. What would God see?
Perfection.
Perfection. Let's say that somebody is coming to you for a treatment. They've got a thing on their hip. Is it your hip? You got a thing on their hip, and they say, it's sore, treat me. And you put your God eyes in. What are you going to see?
Perfect hip.
Perfect health. A perfect hip. Perfect flexibility. Perfect strength. Perfect joy. For that matter, Ernest says that if you don't finish your treatment with a sense of love and life and joy in the presence of the divine, you're not done. If you just work at it and do your treatment and you got it all in there and this is gonna happen, you're missing the boat.
Yeah.
It's a catching a wave and being carried. It's a being lifted. When you know you've connected with that energy, it lifts you. It's not you. If you're lucky enough to ride the wave of spirit, then just be in the joy and get taken by it all. I think that's where people come up with this idea of the beloveds. They're just being taken by that energy of love and joy. So you're not tired after a treatment. You're not fighting a treatment. You're not even acknowledging what the person came for. Sometimes people don't even mention the thing that people came to them about. Like, I got a thing on my hip. I treat you for freedom. I treat you for joy. I treat you for health and wholeness in every cell of your body. And I'm not even going to mention your hip, because your hip is perfect. I don't have to mention your hip. It unnerves some people. They say, well, you didn't mention my hip. I didn't need to mention your hip. Your hip was all in that. And we're lifted up. Some people won't do treatment work at night because they can't sleep. Do you have that experience? Do you go home and can't sleep? I do. But I think it's a little. So what we're doing is we're neutralizing false thought and we're focusing on the truth. We're letting the perfect idea reflect through subjective mind into the body. That's Ernest's flowery thought. There's no limit on the power to heal. There's only a limit on our power, our ability to believe in the power to heal. I used to love to watch the faith healers. Benny Hill used to be on TV, and he would line people up and he would just touch them and they would fall down. Johnny Coleman. What? Oh, not Benny Hill. Benny somebody. Wow. It was like a Brazilian minister named Benny somebody. He would just line people up and touch them on the head, and they would fall down, and they would fall down. And I remember Johnny Coleman, who was the minister in Chicago, 5,000 people on a Sunday, left Unity because they tried to tell her what to do. And every so often, she would line people up and just drop them. And to get her, I usually saw her at conferences, and some people would talk her into it, and then there'd just be a line, and the energy around it was electric, just electric. I remember once John and I were walking by, I said, stop, what is happening here? And go around the corner, and there she is, just dropping people, one after another after another. So there is that idea that it doesn't matter what you've got, you don't have it. That there is a health and a wholeness within you that can be revealed at any second. All we need is clarity enough to be able to see it. And so you put on your God eyes, you think with your God mind, you speak with God voice, and you have that experience of healing. And then you're going to have to keep a rein on your ego, because people are going to come up to you and go, oh my God, you're so wonderful, Amanda. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amanda's wonderful, but she didn't do it. She let it move through her. And that's where you want to get to. You want to let it move through you. You can't force this, but you can find it.
I just wanted to go back, and you read something, it said neutralize false thought, and what was the second part of that?
Neutralizing and erasing false beliefs and letting the perfect idea reflect through
Thank you.
the subjective mind into the body. So when we're doing treatment, he gets real specific in this chapter on physical healing. When we're doing spiritual mind treatment, are we asking?
No. We're stating.
Are we hoping?
No.
Are we wishing?
No.
What are we doing?
Stating.
No.
Knowing.
Knowing. Knowing. Believing?
Believing?
Yes.
Yes.
Accepting?
Yes.
Stating? You can state, and I have. I've
Yes.
stated things till I was blue in the face and didn't believe a word of it. I wasn't done. But I had to work on myself and fake it till I made it, and talk myself into it until I could know it, believe it, and accept it. But in spiritual mind treatment, you're not asking, you're not hoping, you're not wishing. We talked about this on the class on prayer a few weeks ago. You're not making a deal with God. If you do this, I'll do that. You're simply knowing. You're believing it and you're accepting it. There's nothing to do in terms of effort. There's a lot to do in terms of mental discipline and keeping yourself focused so that you are able to have that experience. Ophia.
Yeah, the word allow is another one. That
Allowing, accepting, yeah. So what you're doing is and it's not that you're allowing or accepting something outside of you, it's when you finally uncover it, you go, here it is. It's like that realization step in treatment. Here it is, I realized it, I got it. It's not about, okay, now I have to get it. No, I got it. I have it. It's part of me, I know it, I understand it. So the believing, the knowing, the accepting, the allowing, all of that is all right there. And the effort involved in treatment is the discipline to think the thoughts that you want to think and not to get caught up in it. Because sometimes the conditions look so real. Sometimes they're so believable. But I see that. Yeah, not there. Well, Barbara, you must be crazy. Crazy happy. Disease is neither person, place, nor thing. It has no substance in itself. It has no life in itself. It is simply a condition, and we are the cause. So whatever it is, whether it's a disease of the physical body, a disease of the financial body, a disease of the emotional body, whatever it is, the body of our affair, if anything is not in alignment with this idea of perfect God, perfect man, perfect being, it's not that it's not there, it's that we have to uncover it. And we have to get through all of those race beliefs, those experiences that look so convincing, so real. And we go, well, anybody in their right mind would believe that this is true. Well, if you believe it's true, you're going to have that. If you stop believing it's true, you start cutting the energy connections to it and allow it to go back into the nothingness from whence it came. And what pops up is this perfect state of health and wholeness, balance, equilibrium, love, peace, and joy. It's always been there. We are treasure hunters in our prayer work. That's what we do. And I encourage you to stay with it until you not only accept it, believe it, and know it, but that you get that feeling of great joy, of connection, of the presence of the divine. You get that feeling of oneness. And when you're there, then you know that you've really completed your treatment work. You've taken it all the way to that, I know that this is true, and I feel this. I feel Amanda's joy at jumping around with her healthy body, and I feel that presence of the divine as her. And I know that this is the truth. Always has been, always will be. And then you open up your eyes, and if you don't see it, it doesn't matter. People come up to me and say, you treated me, it hasn't demonstrated. And I go, sure it has. No, it hasn't. But you're going to argue for your limitations now? It has. It's right here. If you don't see it, and if I don't see it yet, it doesn't matter, doesn't change my mind at all. It is right here and right now. And that's where you stay, no matter what the appearance is. That's taking control of your cause. That's using spiritual mind treatment to be able to be a healing presence in the world. And I think that that's what every one of us wants to be. Some of us want to have the ego boost of being able to be the head honcho healer, and that is dangerous. It's very dangerous. I know a couple of people who present themselves to the world as the head honcho healer, and it's a slippery slope. I don't know any of them that have their ego in control enough that they haven't gotten quite hurt from that. So don't go there. You don't want to be the head honcho healer. You want to ride the wave. You want to be picked up and carried on the wings of the divine and move through into such clarity that you can look at anything and see God. And when you do, the outer conditions change. It is the coolest thing in the world. Joe Dispenza once said, if you really believe all of this, you would never get out of bed without setting your intention for the day. I would say you'd never get out of bed without doing treatment. You'd certainly never leave the house without doing your spiritual work. You would throw yourself into race consciousness and into your own past limited belief systems without cleaning yourself up. You're going to take a shower, take a spiritual shower. Wash yourself off, clean yourself up, get straight, and then go out into the day. Use your treatment work to create the life that you want to live. in every way. See God in every moment, every person, every experience, and don't be swayed by what the condition is, because the condition has no power. You have the power. You have the power by being cause. You are cause to your world. And as you exercise that and then notice all of the cool things that happen, you start building up that faith that Susan was talking about, being able to stand in, looking at her son in a destroyed car, going, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. I have faith that this is good. I know that this is good. And you did your stuff. You went to the doctor, you got him checked out and all that stuff. But you, in the midst of it all, this is good, this is good, this is good. That's what you're building for yourself. And it's something that you'll be able to tap into for the rest of your life. So the effort is not in willpowering this, in making it happen, in you being the force for it. The effort is in keeping your thinking clear, which in my experience takes practice and discipline. Even after 40 years, it still takes practice and discipline to keep my thinking where I want it. The effort is in, no, I'm not gonna go there, I'm gonna focus on this. No, I'm not gonna be distracted by that, I'm gonna focus on this. Gee, I'd really love an adrenaline rush right now by some gossip, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna focus on this, because life is easier for me when everything works out, instead of when I'm reacting and bouncing off the walls and going crazy. That's exhausting. The effort is in your mental discipline. And that's why some people don't like this teaching. They say, you ask too much of me. You ask me to pay attention all day, every day, and I do. I do, because if you don't, you're going to be left to your own devices, and you're going to get what you created up until now in the past, and you're here because you don't want that anymore. The only way to not have what you used to have is to be a different cause, so you can have a different effect in your life called a happy day, a happy life, the best life ever. That's the way you get it. And if you commit yourself to the discipline of watching your thought and focusing your energy, you will create a life of prosperity, you will create physical healings, you will create wonderful relationships, you will create joy-filled opportunities that instead of having to work at and fight, the doors will simply open, the carpet was rolled out before you, and you move forward with legions of angels taking care of details. Oprah used to talk about that. She called it her team. Before she ever went in to work out a contract, she sent her team ahead. Her team was non-physical beings. And she would have her team work out whatever issues might come up, whatever discrepancies there might be, whatever problems might happen, work it all out before Oprah went into the meeting. And she said that then when she went into the meetings, everything just fell into place, as long as she sent her team out. It's the same kind of thing. So what you're doing is you're focusing your awareness on the life that you want to live. And who doesn't want a life of riches and joy and happiness and love? Who doesn't want that? Focus your awareness, accept nothing less than what you deserve, and watch it show up. And if it hasn't shown up yet, don't be deterred. There's always the eternal now. Time is an illusion, no big deal. We have all of eternity. Breathe, and then watch it show up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Good. Oh, and you're not sending thought. I always kind of chuckle at this idea of I'm sending you this, or prayers lifted. It's like, what? Where is there to go in the eternal here and the eternal now? Prayers lifted with little emojis and the hands. You know, and these are metaphysician people, supposedly. Or I'm going to send you some good thoughts. You know, we don't do that. What we do is we know inside of ourselves. The practitioner treats the practitioner, period, end of story. You don't have to have a special feeling when you do treatment work. You don't have to get goosebumps or rushes or feel all etheric or anything like that. If you do, that's wonderful, that's you. But you don't have to. You don't have to go, oh, I had this really cool feeling last time and I didn't have it this time, therefore I must not have done it right. No. The feeling is irrelevant. It's just a feeling. What you're doing is you're impressing thought upon universal subjectivity, which must manifest in form as the result of that thought. That's what you're doing.
I just wanted to ask in regards to the juxtaposition of, Abraham says it's all about the feeling.
No,
Okay.
take a deep breath. You always have a thought before the feeling. There's something even before the thought. I don't know what it is, but Abraham is dealing at the level of feeling, which is great. Be happy, be in your joy. But that is down the road. That's actually in secondary causation. Well, if I can get myself into feeling happy, then I can have happy experiences. And I'm all for working yourself into being happy, but that is not the origin of it. You always have a thought, even if it's a nanosecond before a feeling, you are always choosing what feeling you feel. That's why when people say, oh, I just couldn't help it, well, of course you could. You chose to be angry, you chose to be resentful, you chose to be jealous. You chose those feelings and then you did them and worked it and got yourself all high on adrenaline, and then you just throw your hands up and say, I couldn't help it. Of course you can help it. There's always a thought before a feeling, and so if you ever have a feeling you don't like, choose a different thought to feel a different feeling, and you'll feel a different feeling. But there's even something before the thought. Who is it that thought the thought? What aspect of you thought the thought that created the feeling? There's so much more to us. There's so much more depth to us than simple, thoughts, feelings, actions, words, demonstrations, all of that. We're so deep. And so as we set our intention with spiritual mind treatment and daily practice, then that starts to change the minute choices that we make inside of our thinking process in terms of the feelings that we choose, in terms of the way we see life, in terms of whether or not we react or don't. It starts changing all of that, so we have a completely different mix that makes up the demonstrations in our life. One more thing. There's a quote in this chapter that I love. He says, the answer to the prayer is always in the prayer when it is prayed. What does that mean?
It's in the treatment,
What is it that's in the treatment?
what we're knowing.
The answer is in the treatment, not in wishing, hoping, asking, but in knowing. So if you get into a space of knowing and believing and allowing and accepting and then connection and love and joy, so that you're feeling that sense of oneness, then that's the answer or the demonstration to the treatment. It's already in the prayer. It's already in the treatment.
Can you just, reiterate the quote again? The answer?
The answer to the prayer is always in the answer to the prayer is always in the prayer when it is prayed. Is it prayed? The answer to the treatment?
It's all prayer, it doesn't say treatment.
Does it?
Yeah.
The answer to the prayer is in the prayer when it is prayed. Now, if you look at prayer as a treatment, that's one thing, but what if you look at it as the prayer?
Yeah,
The
that's what I
answer
was
to the
wondering.
prayer is always in the prayer when it is prayed.
Yeah.
The answer to the prayer is always in you.
Yeah.
And prayers come in many sizes and shapes. Damn it, that's a prayer. You dirty, rotten person, that's a prayer. This will never happen. That's a prayer. And the answer to that is in the prayer or in the prayer when it is prayed. So we get to where we are more mindful about what we allow to go between our ears and what we give rein to in terms of thought. Ernest says that trained thought is more powerful than untrained thought. And a lot of people think that that means, oh, well, I've taken classes and I've practiced treatment and affirmations and intentions and I have trained thought. Well, there are a lot of people doing stinking thinking that have trained their thought to be very powerful. And if you think a thought over and over and over again, and if you harness a belief system and support that that's the way life is, whether it's a positive thing for you or a negative thing for you, that's trained thought. And the more you think that way, the more powerful your thoughts get. And so there comes a point in time when you really have to put a rein on it and say, I'm not gonna allow myself to think that thought anymore. I'm not gonna allow myself to listen to these things anymore. There are times when I used to walk around the center and just go, blah, 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 blah. I will not listen to you. Now I go, stop it. Stop it right now. Stop it. If I'd been in the discovery group Sunday morning, I would have said, stop it right now. So don't go there. Don't give yourself free rein to just regurgitate the old stuff that's been in your life if you want something new. Because the answer is in you. So how are you going to bring that up? How are you going to bring it out? How are you going to direct it? How are you going to let it out in your life? However you choose to let it out, you are amazingly powerful. And the more you think a certain thought, the more trained your thought is, and the more power it uses, or it has access to. Does that make sense? Yep. I think there comes a time in our spiritual development where we can't catastrophize or fantasize or wish harm to anyone or look at the negativity of it all, because we're bringing so much of our energy into that. We can't do that. And that's a decision that each one of us has to make for ourselves, of where is our line. My line has gotten very short. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to go there because I don't want to have the effect to that cause. Let's take a break, find your treatment partner, and do your treatment.
Anywhere.
Did you start feeling the giddy high from the treatment? That's a good thing. You're absolutely allowed to get stoned on God. You're allowed to do whatever you want. So, sharings from tonight's treatment?
awesome.
It was awesome.
I just
Like,
rewrote it.
she
because I just
totally
wanted to
took my
have
thing and
what I'm
made me get down
saying
to
every day.
what it really was, not
So you
just
know-
what
you
I
know what's
said.
going out there.
Troy?
The root of it, which turned out to be freedom and ease.
Yay.
And she was like a professional, and then she's like, oh, I've only done this a couple of times. What is that nonsense? What's that? She was great.
I believe in having people do spiritual mind treatment.
Good
Whether
for you.
Whether you
Good for
do the
us.
cheat sheet or what, do it. We'll get better at it, but who cares? Do it. So yay, awesome, yay. Who else? How was it for Troy and Sarah?
It was good. It was interesting, being a partner with your partner. And so, but I felt, I don't know, I just felt like, for me, part of it was, like, I had more trouble knowing what to ask for treatment than to, or really tapping into what I needed most. And so, that was harder for me than actually doing the treatment. That was my
Good.
personal experience.
Get used to asking, knowing what you want.
Yeah, that's tricky for
That's the
me.
hard
I have trouble with a lot of that. So.
Well, we'll let you practice. And being partners with your spouse or your partner is wonderful, and you don't have to. If you want to have other partners, you're welcome to do that. You need to have a pretty solid relationship to be treatment partners with each other. And keep in mind that you can be very honest and open and intimate in your crosstalk, or you may need to talk to somebody else about something. So it's not personal, and if you want to stay treatment partners, you can. I feel like you guys were just kind of defaulted to you were the last two in the room, but I don't know, maybe you picked that. So whatever you want to do, just know that you have complete permission to do that. At least from me. I don't know what you're talking to each other about. Who else? Jane,
Yes, I always have difficulties with this
up until now.
until now. Yeah, it really worked out fine tonight. But really, what really it took me quite a while to realize the first two steps, you know, the universe is this and that, and the second step. And then it's such a temptation to go on and leave your partner out.
Oh,
And so I found it a really great phrase for the third step, where you're supposed to see you've treated for yourself and you know, for the first two steps. The third step, you to say something like, and I know for, and name your partner.
right, remind yourself that this treatment is for Debbie.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because it's so, I often have partners that just, forget. And Debbie didn't, but I've had them in the past and they just forget me and I'll say, oh. But that's
I don't know how anyone can forget you, Jane.
But I think that's a great phrase, I know for my partner, you know, for the third step.
It is, it's a very good phrase, and I know for and about Debbie Ivy or Jane Christensen or who else.
Yeah, whoever, yeah, and then the last two are, you know, now you've brought in this partner and then you can continue with that if you want. I'm grateful for, and then,
Good.
and then I release the whole.
I'm delighted that you're getting lost in it.
The what?
I'm delighted that you're getting lost in it. It means you're really letting go into it.
Trying.
You're doing a good job.
Thanks. It's a good job.
Some of our practitioners will actually take notes,
Yeah.
and it's okay to take notes. It's okay to open your eyes in the middle of a treatment and read your notes. It's okay to ask what your partner's name is if you forget going into it. I forgot your name. My name is John. My name is Barbara. It's okay, just get clear, and then you can go and let go in it. And truly, you don't want to forget your partner. You don't want to forget what they asked for. And you can just get swept up in it all. And so you'll find sometimes our practitioners will take notes, especially if you're seeing them for a 1-hour session, like the ones that are available on Thursdays here. I notice nobody is signed up for a Thursday treatment, and I just don't understand it. If you've got time on Thursday, come and have a session with the practitioners that are here and allow yourself to be treated. It can't hurt, it can only help.
What time is,
They're all open. There's a sign-up sheet there. There's 11, 12, 1, and 2 o'clock ones. Ophia,
You know, who, like, what different practitioners will be there?
I know Kate Wagner will be here part of the day.
I don't know who
She's excellent.
that is. Okay. I was just curious, in general, if you would know. Like,
Well, Kate, Laura Earp used to run it, and since Laura's gone off to other things, Kate's picked that up. So she's committed to be here at least for part of the day. And I don't know if she has someone else coming in for that time or not. Who else? Tiana, you were laughing?
Yes, I was. I am. What are we talking about? I'm
Just, we've got a little time, so I'm letting you debrief about the treatment process tonight.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm sorry. No, I am paying attention. I'm just kind of lost in everything right now. It's kind of euphoric, I guess. Yeah, I do. I felt more. I was distracted with my own thoughts when she was doing the treatments of mine, but when I did hers, it was very clear. And I kind of found myself like, when I do treatments, it's very clear, and then like as soon as I step away and I'm done, like I go back to this like this doubt, and I'd like that to be gone.
What I like to do is called treat the treatment. And you can either go through a whole other treatment, or what I say is, that was a kick-ass treatment. I'm clear, I know in that moment, I was beyond a shadow of a doubt, and that is operating in my life right now. And that's
Okay.
my response to the
Yeah, because I feel it, like I just like know that it's done, and then with it, like it's almost like 10 minutes later, I'm like,
You'll get better at that.
Yeah.
Just remind yourself that that was a great treatment,
Okay.
and that's operating right now.
okay.
Who else? Ophia.
it wasn't even anything specifically really, I get, well, you know, we were talking about different stuff and one of the things when we get I realized that I hadn't eaten dinner and I realized, that like, oh, I'm tired, I haven't gotten enough sleep, but just, noticing these things and then talking about like, love and community and all this, I'm still ready to go relax and eat dinner, but I'm not like, oh, all right, I gotta eat.
Energy is ubiquitous.
Yeah.
It's everywhere present all the time. And for us to shut down and not have energy means we're just blocking it.
Yeah.
Because if, who is it, Ed McMahon came in with the Publishers Clearinghouse check for a Fia horn, then you would get energy right there. So it's always available to us, but sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we have plenty of energy, we're focused, we're clear, we're alert,
Yeah.
and all of that. RJ and then Troy.
I had a really awesome treatment time with Ophia, and you were talking about some things and some conditions, and I started focusing on some other conditions I was aware of. And through the entire class today, concentrating on everything you said at the same time, having that in my mind, working with this miracle mind treatment. We need to treat on this, not on the conditions, but on the causes and the community there. So fortunately, I had Althea, and we shared a lot, and she could hold that consciousness with me, that everything's as it should be, and there's good community and love and all that it needed to be. So kind of sharing that community with her.
Yeah. Troy.
Well, I just want to bring, Rick and I have been treating, my request from Rick is treat me for energy. I'd like to have more energy to do the things I need. Well, we've been working at it now for a few months really. And over that period of time, my energy has been getting stronger. And I still get tired at the end of the day. I mean, that's just kind of par for my course, but during the day, everything is just better. I can go on hikes and go further and feel more comfortable than I did 2 years earlier when I was 2 years younger. And
You're youthening.
But I don't want to paint the perfect picture. I mean, there's always little holes and rocks in the road, but it's getting better. And
I'm happy to paint a perfect picture for you. Your life is perfect.
Well, we're doing a good job. Trying to help each other as brothers and friends will. And I'm asking Rick to treat me now for imagination, improvement of imagination, so I can improve my photography and go to places that I can't go unless I open my vision.
Yeah.
So.
And you do take beautiful photos.
Well, I want them to get better though.
Yeah, always. Wonderful. Anybody else? Good job. The energy in the room is exceptional tonight. Thank you for that. Take out what you're going to give.
So,
Those of you watching online, if you're on our YouTube channel, there is a little P up in the corner. If you click that, it'll take you to our PayPal account, and you too can participate in financially supporting this amazing work that we do around the world by providing these teachings to any and everyone at no charge. We're grateful for whatever it is you send in. And those of us in the room, thank you for all of the ways that you support this center. I'm truly grateful. I mentioned yesterday that we completed 2018 very well, very well. We're ordering our 3 cameras this month and redoing the way that we provide our really mission to the world of Science of Mind teachings out to the world for people like Hella and all of the other people that have watched us online and sold their everything they owned and packed up and came here, and for all the people in Bulgaria and China and India and all of those other places. Those are our 3, other than the US, 3 main countries in November. And all of the people around the world that tune in and watch us and understand that there's a power and a presence within them that can do anything. And that it's our job to get our heads screwed on straight. And when we do that, we unleash the power of the universe. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And what I know is that we are blessed. We are blessed with amazing prosperity, with amazing abundance and love and joy, because we are the points of God in form as us. Spirit being all, in all, as all, is all now, and that is what we are. We are incarnations of the divine. We are points of prosperity within the abundance of God. We are the light and the love and the glory of all that is. And we allow ourselves to shine brightly as we use these teachings, see as God sees as us, and bring forth the good in the world. And I know that each of us is blessed with abundance and love and joy and health and happiness of all kinds, and that this teaching continues to go out and touch the lives of millions and millions of people. And so with great gratitude for all that everyone gives, for all of the work that this center does, for the ability to pay the light bill and open the doors and do our good work, with great gratitude for every bit of it, I simply release this treatment into all that God is, because I know that God is all. And together we say, and so it is. Just hold the energy of the room. We are making money happen. We are reaching out into thin air and coming up with everything that we need for everything that we want to do, knowing that the windows of heaven have opened and pour forth blessing after blessing after blessing upon us. We know that we are beings of love and beings of light, and all is well in our world. So as we have this creative process of the manifestation of every good thing in our lives, I know that everything in these baskets is blessed because we gave it. We, God in form as us, gave this gift. And it's an energy that flows forth from each of us. I see it as golden light that fills up this room from the floor to the ceiling and all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with God as us. And as Spirit moves in our lives, things happen. So right here and right now, each of us is touched. We are blessed and we are healed. Always here and always now, touching every one of us here tonight, everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. I love you guys. Come on Sunday, we're going to celebrate our 24th anniversary.